At the celebration party, everyone encouraged Lily and Daniel to share a kiss. Mirroring their on-screen chemistry, the two exchanged a meaningful glance and grinned. In an instant, they were locked in a kiss. As applause filled the room, someone suddenly suggested, "Why don't the second male lead and the female lead try it?" Lily's expression immediately darkened. The second male lead? That was me. And in reality, I am Lily's genuine boyfriend. The atmosphere turned tense as the room fell silent under Lily's stern gaze. It felt uncomfortable. Daniel swiftly took her hand and said, "Come on, everyone, stop it. I'll give Lily another kiss for you." All right, don't force her into something she doesn't want to do." Someone chimed in. "She clearly doesn't want to." I wondered who had been holding on to me last night, tipsy and insisting on a kiss for 10 straight minutes. I set down my glass, stood up, and walked toward Lily. "It's just a kiss, right?" I remarked with a smirk. "No big deal. The actress can handle it a bit." Lily's brow furrowed, her tone turning cautionary. Daniel echoed her sentiment, putting his arm around Lily protectively. "They're just joking around. Don't take it so seriously." My eyes wandered down to where Lily's hand rested comfortably against Daniel's waist. The two of them, so closely connected, seemed inseparable. "Get lost," I said coolly. Daniel froze and glanced at Lily, whose expression only grew more severe. "Stop it, Alex," she commanded firmly. Daniel nudged her and added, "Alex has probably just had too much to drink." "It's the celebration party. Don't let him get to you." She laughed lightly, gently holding Daniel's hand again. How intimate. I looked up at the woman nestled in Daniel's embrace. Just like in the show, I was the antagonistic supporting character while she held unwavering affection for the leading man, even though I'm her boyfriend. She's never once acknowledged it in front of others. "Leave," I stated, swallowing my frustration. "Both of you now." Of course, the main characters weren't about to leave. With everyone watching, I slammed the door and walked out. Later, sitting alone on the hotel rooftop with a drink, I received a message from Lily. "Come back and apologize to Daniel? Just say you drank too much." It was almost laughable how shameless she could be. I blocked her number immediately. As light rain began to fall, I gazed up at the sky, reflecting on the 4 years I'd spent with Lily. 4 years supporting her as she transitioned from a rising starlet to an acclaimed actress. Back then, she was still basking in the success of a low-budget web series that had unexpectedly gone viral. The company paired her with Daniel, her on-screen partner, pushing their relationship hard. She couldn't refuse. She was miserable at first, always coming to me saying, "I really don't want to fake this thing with him. I just imagine it's you to get through it." She pleaded, "Alex, wait for me. Wait until I'm powerful enough, until I'm no longer under anyone's control. Then I'll tell the world I love you." We used to dream about our future together. 1 dog, 2 kids, 3 meals a day, 4 seasons in harmony. When did things start to change? She began replying to my messages less and less, while her feelings for Daniel deepened. Their relationship had been developing for 4 years, never officially acknowledged, but always hinted at with romantic undertones. In public, he'd tie her shoelaces on set, find time to take her on bike rides through the hills, and behind the scenes, she'd lend him her lawyer to fight a defamation case and take him to dinners with renowned directors. Fans adored their subtle chemistry, claiming to find hidden sweetness in every small interaction between them. Some things, once you start acting them out, might just become real, I thought, feeling stuck in the middle, clueless. I was already slightly tipsy when my agent Sam called. "Alex, where are you?" I mumbled, still in a haze. "There's a problem. You're trending." I sobered up halfway, grabbing my phone. Someone had posted a video of the rap party online. The top trending topics were all about Lily and Daniel. #Lily Daniel electric stairs. #Lily Daniel celebration party kiss. #Lily Daniel going public soon. How much would you gift if Lily and Daniel got married? Starting from the 5th spot, there I was. #Alex Clown Act. #Alex bullying Daniel at the party. #Alex got his role through connections. And the comments were filled with hate toward me. Oh, what a jerk. Does he have any shame? Thinking he can kiss our Lily with that filthy mouth? He's disgusting. Did they spray air freshener after he left? Such an attitude, slamming the door on his way out. Who gave him the audacity? Someone should check out who's backing him. Trash. Ugh. I've never hated a character more in real life. Except for Alex, he's the true embodiment of his evil role. No talent and got the role through connections. The second lead was forced in. Guess he could only portray that villain role because it's just who he is. Connections. Ha, as if. I secured the lead role on my own merits. But before filming started, Lily's company pressured the director through the production team to replace me with Daniel as the male lead. They claimed that Lily and Daniel had better relationship potential and that it would make the series more popular. Lily even came to me, saying it would be too hard to hide our relationship if we played a couple on screen. I disagreed, and we had a huge argument. My contract with this company is ending soon, Alex. Can't you be a little more understanding? She accused me of being inconsiderate, but she had no idea how much effort I'd put into securing this role. At first, the director had been on my side, assuring me she'd stick to her choice. Yet the very next day, she was fired. I was demoted to the second lead, cast as the villain. That night, I watched as Lily and Daniel promoted the new show together on a talk show, mindlessly chewing on my dinner. They say that the more you chew bread, the sweeter it gets, but all I tasted was bitterness. Sometimes you don't really give up until you've seen it or heard it with your own eyes and ears. Back then, I still harbored a tiny hope that once her contract ended, she would no longer be bound by obligations, and we could openly be together. I just wanted to be close to her, to spend more time together. So, I took on that role, unknowingly volunteering for countless doses of hurt as I witnessed her and Daniel's sweet moments off screen. I scrolled further down the page and found another trending topic. #Lily protecting her love at the party. The comments urged them to get married, with occasional curses directed at me interwoven in the threads. People said someone like me, who bullied others, should just disappear. An hour passed, and still, Lily hadn't posted any clarification. No one else had either. The rumors continued to climb the trending list. I took out my phone and unblocked her. Impulse always gets the best of me, doesn't it? But some things still needed to be said carefully. I typed out words I never thought I'd have to write. Lily, let's break up. 3 hours later, Lily found me. Did you seriously block me because you were drunk? She walked over and tried to take my hand. Don't touch me, I said, pulling my hand away. Alex, there's a limit to throwing a tantrum, she said, her tone softening. You're the one who caused the scene at the party. I asked you to apologize. Was that too much? If you'd just apologized, this whole thing would have blown over. I let out a hollow laugh. And what's that cost you? She fell silent. Of course it cost her nothing. This kind of free publicity was invaluable. After all, the show was generating a buzz even before it aired. It was laughable. I was laughable. I staggered to my feet, pushing her away. Lily, I'm serious. I want to break up. Get as far away from me as you can. You're drunk. She frowned. I mean every word. Lily stared at me in silence for a moment, then sighed, softening her voice. Baby, come on, let's not do this. Let's just go home. Leave, I insisted. Sam will be here to pick me up soon. But she didn't leave. Instead, she pressed close to me, forcing her way into my arms. Stop it. Okay, let's go home. I'll pretend I didn't hear anything this time, but you're not allowed to say break up again, got it? With that, she tilted her head up, about to kiss me. To be honest, I used to fall for this every time we argued about Daniel. She'd soothe me the same way, but this time, just thinking about how she'd been clinging to Daniel earlier made me sick. Lily, I shoved her away, turning my head. Don't you understand? I want to break up with you. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Sam standing at the rooftop door, eyes wide. He must have just arrived. I pushed Lily aside and grabbed Sam, heading toward the exit. Alex, Lily's voice called out behind me, tinged with wounded pride. Say that again. She challenged me. I took a deep breath, turned, and looked her in the eye, enunciating each word. I want to break up. Fine, she responded coldly. Break up. You got it. Just don't regret it. I stayed at Sam's place for a week, and Lily didn't contact me once. Over the weekend, the casting results came out for the film I auditioned for last month. Sam looked at me, hesitating to say something. What's wrong? Didn't get the part? I forced a smile, already used to disappointments. No, it's not that. They said the lead role hasn't been decided yet. Right now, it's between you and Daniel, but they're waiting for the lead actress's opinion. The lead actress? It's Lily. Oh, Alex, Sam began, clearly troubled. Last time, Lily asked you to give up the lead for Daniel. You're her real boyfriend after all, and she has some influence in the industry now. Maybe we could talk to her, I suggested. Sam, I shook my head. Lily and I broke up. His eyes widened. You actually broke up. What did you think? You were there when it happened. I thought you were just arguing. But, Sam, he said anxiously, can you really let her go? Really move on? This is Lily we're talking about. Can I let go? Move on? I'd asked myself that question countless times. For years of love, companionship, and sacrifice, there were good times too. I remembered her first nervous attempt at conversation, her teary eyes watching over me for 3 days straight when I was sick, and the time she drove 1,000 kilometers just to catch a glimpse of me on set from afar. But even the most vibrant painting eventually fades. Maybe you should go back and talk to her. Go back? I smiled faintly. I'll go back, but just to collect my things. The apartment I shared with Lily had seen her less and less over time. The paparazzi were relentless. Her work kept her busy, and our schedules rarely aligned. Opening the door, I was surprised to find her there. She was in casual clothes, clutching her phone, as if waiting for a message from someone. She seemed startled by the sound of the door, snapping out of her thoughts. In an instant, her expression shifted as she looked at me with a smirk. Came to your senses? Finally decided to come back? I nodded. Yes, I've come to my senses. I walked straight to the bedroom, opening the closet and wondering which items I should take with me. Lily followed me. I'm not even mad at you anymore about that. Just don't let your emotions get the best of you next time. I've already taken down all the trending topics about you. Just publicly apologize to Daniel, and I'll make sure you get the lead role in the new film. It's just a lead role, after all, she muttered softly. Was it really worth all this drama? I pulled out a suitcase and opened it. Do you have work coming up? She asked, confused. I terminated my contract. I didn't look up. What? Her voice rose. You didn't even consult me about something this big. I sighed. Why would I consult you? We broke up, Lily. Break up? Her voice rose again. You didn't even consult me about something this big. I looked up. We broke up. Lily paused, kneeling beside me. Alex, are you done with this childish tantrum? It's not that big of a deal, is it? We've been playing up this relationship with Daniel for years now. You've known about it all along. Why get so worked up this time? I snapped the suitcase shut, looking at her. Lily, do you know why I took on the role of the second lead in that drama? She looked puzzled. Because I missed you. So, even though I was given the part of the villainous supporting character, I accepted it. I just wanted to be near her, to see her more often. But once we were on set, you treated me like a stranger. She stared, incredulous. All this, just because of that? I have a contractual obligation to play up the relationship with Daniel. You know this, Alex, and yet every time it comes up, you make it a fight. Do you know how exhausting that is for me? Besides, why should we kiss in front of other people? Why do you need to make our private moments public? Do you really enjoy airing our intimacy? She glared at me. Alex, before you lose your temper, could you at least try to see things from my perspective? I looked at her quietly. Lily, Do you know that the crew made things intentionally difficult for me? I had to reshoot a scene in the water 20 times, and the next day I was so sick I almost got pneumonia. She froze. You didn't know, did you? Because even though you didn't have any scenes those days, you were out sightseeing with Daniel in the area. I texted you saying I was sick, and you replied 5 hours later. Do you remember what you said? You said, "Drink more hot water, love." When you sent that message, Sam had already taken me to the hospital because I was out of it with a fever. They said, she murmured, they said you left because something came up. I shook my head with a bitter smile. Lily, I loved you. That's why I was willing to endure all this. But sometimes, just once, I'd like to feel that my girlfriend would be by my side during times like those. The incident at the party was just the final straw. What I wanted was simple, even if it was in a hidden corner. A gentle word of comfort, a reassuring look, a small kiss. But I never got that. Not even once. You say I have a temper. Maybe I do. I stood up, pulling my packed suitcase. Ready to leave. She pressed down on my hand. We've been together for 4 years, Alex. Fights are just fights. You can't throw around the word breakup so casually. Don't you understand? I understand. She stared at me, incredulous. So you still want to break up? Is our relationship really that disposable to you? I shook my head, unwilling to argue further. Lily, this isn't about wanting to break up. We already did. I brushed her hand away and took a few steps, then paused. Turning back. You know, I'm generally mild-mannered and rarely get into fights. We dated for a while. Let's part on good terms. I'm not in the industry anymore, so I won't be posting any rants or leaking pictures to ruin your image. Consider this. I hesitated. A parting gift. She froze, then rushed forward, grabbing me. Alex, stop this. Where would you even go without me? Your career is here. She turned her head away, saying, if you really insist on leaving today, then know that we're never going back. Just then, the doorbell rang. I turned to open the door and froze. Daniel was standing outside, looking equally surprised to see me. Lily, I think I left a pair of underwear here when I borrowed your shower the other day, he said. The silence was deafening. I chuckled, glancing back. Borrowing the shower was part of the contract. Lily hesitated before saying, friends help each other. It's just the bathroom. Do you have to be so cynical about it? If you really have no trust left in me, then maybe we're truly done. Yes, done. We were already done. I turned to leave. And Lily, she called out, startled. I followed, but the elevator had just arrived. I stepped inside and Lily moved to join me, but Daniel suddenly grabbed her arm. Lily, you can't go down. The paparazzi are waiting downstairs. They'll catch you two together. In that split second of her hesitation, the elevator doors finally closed. I booked the next flight back to Harmony City. Sam, with reddened eyes, came to see me off. Alex, if you're not going to act anymore, what are your plans back home? Lily had asked me the same question. With no choice but to go home and follow the family's arrangements, I reflected on my younger days when I had rebelled against my parents and sister, insisting on breaking into the entertainment industry on my own terms. Now, after 4 years, I hadn't even landed a lead role, and I was leaving with a cloud of scandal hanging over me. It's hard to find work outside this industry. Sam sighed. Yeah, it's a headache. I sighed too. I might just have to go back and take over the family business. What? Sam froze. It's time to board. So I gave Sam a hug. If you're ever in Harmony City, feel free to visit me at Gene Group's headquarters. Gene Group. Sam's mouth dropped open. Gene Group, as in the leading domestic consumer goods company. He glanced up at a large Gene Group billboard in the airport. So your last name Gene? Is that the same Gene? After a 2-hour flight, I arrived in Harmony City. The familiar scent of sea breeze greeted me. Back home, I quickly learned that my family was in trouble. My parents had been living abroad for a long time, leaving the company in my sister's capable hands. She had tried to hide the situation from me, but I noticed that many of the antique paintings and her prized cars were missing. Under my persistent questioning, she finally admitted that the company was facing a financial crisis. I knew what that implied. "So, sis, are we talking about an arranged marriage?" I asked. She sighed. "I can do it. But what about that actress you were dating?" "It's over." My sister, much older than me, had always doted on me. When I stubbornly chose the entertainment industry over the family business, she was the one who persuaded our parents to let me go. She had shouldered the company's burdens alone for years. As the younger son, how could I sit back when the family was in trouble? "Well, shall we set up a meeting?" she asked, a bit hesitant. "If you meet her and don't like her, we can decline. There are other options." I nodded. All right. 2 weeks after breaking up with Lily, I found myself in a high-end restaurant on a blind date with Mia, the heiress of the Liu Group. 10 minutes later, Mia arrived. She was dressed elegantly in a custom-fitted dress, looking every bit as stunning as any star. "Sorry, I was held up," she said. "No problem. I just got here myself." She sat down. "Shall we start?" I nodded. "Go ahead, Mr. Jean. You ask first." I thought for a moment. "Are you in good health? Besides occasional dizziness from overwork? Nothing serious?" "Oh, well, that's a classic leading lady trait. Excuse me?" "Oh, it's just," I chuckled. "You probably wouldn't know, but in the romance scripts I used to read, the female lead often has this kind of issue. The doctor says it's due to stress." She replied patiently. "As an only child, I'm expected to take over the family business, and there are no set hours. Are there any other issues your leading ladies usually have?" She asked with a slight smile. I thought for a moment. They often suffer from insomnia." "That one I don't have," she said. "I sleep well, good sleeper, doesn't hog the blankets." "I sleep well, good sleeper, doesn't hog the blankets," I echoed automatically. "Neither do I," added. What am I even saying? "Good to know," she replied with a smile, seeming not to notice my awkwardness. "Do you have any other questions?" I shook my head quickly. "No, that's it. So Mr. Jean's criteria for a partner is simply good health and no insomnia." She asked, leaning forward with a playful grin. "So Mr. Jean's criteria for a partner is simply good health and no insomnia?" "Pretty much," she laughed again. "Do you have any questions for me?" I asked. She shook her head. "No, I'm very satisfied." I hesitated. "Miss Liu, you probably know a bit about me. I used to work in the entertainment industry. There's some bad press about me. Those party headlines." She tilted her head. "I know all about it." She looked up smiling. "You didn't think I'd come to a date without doing my homework, did you? Gathering information before a business meeting is basic for any good business person, isn't it?" Winking, she added, "Emily, she's actually my ex. I wanted to be honest with you in case it bothers you." I said, "That's part of your past, and I don't mind." "Neither should you. Since she's an ex, it's already over." "Right," I agreed. "That's part of your past, and I don't mind. Neither should you. Since she's an ex, it's already over." She smiled. "Meeting new people, experiencing new things. Time heals a lot." I nodded. "Yes, it does. Everything about Lily, good or bad, would eventually be washed away by the currents of time. No use brooding over it like some sentimental fool." And so, my engagement to Mia was set. We quickly began planning the details for the wedding. The next time I heard from Lily was on a weekend. "What do you need?" I answered. After a moment of silence, she replied in a low voice, "You still have some things at my place. Throw them out, Alex." "Okay, Mr. Jean. Would you like to take a look at the bride's dress?" the sales assistant asked beside me. Lily fell silent. "Are you on set?" she asked after a beat. I paused. "Lily, we broke up. Where are you?" "Lily, I've come home. I won't be acting anymore. Don't contact me again." "Come home." "You're back in Harmony City. Why are you looking at wedding dresses? Who for?" "A friend." I didn't respond. After a moment, she spoke again, more earnestly. The night you left, I went to film a variety show. I just got back. Where in Harmony City are you? I'll come find you, Lily. I interrupted her. I'm getting married. Before I hung up, Lily remained silent on the other end. I tossed my phone back into my bag, rubbing my temples. Hearing her voice stirred up some complicated feelings. After all, I used to believe that I would always love her. I never thought there would come a day when I'd tell her over the phone that I was getting married. Mia arrived about half an hour later to get measured for her wedding dress. You seem a bit distracted, she observed. Didn't sleep well. I shook my head. No, I was just trying to pick out a wedding dress. You seem a bit distracted, she observed again. Didn't sleep well? I shook my head once more. No, I was just trying to pick out a wedding dress for you, but I realized I don't know your taste well enough. I think maybe we should try to get to know each other a bit more before the wedding. She nodded thoughtfully. How? Tomorrow is the weekend, I suggested. Would you like to see a movie? That evening, I bought the tickets. On Saturday night, Mia showed up in a playful dress that added a bit of a girlish charm, catching the attention of a few young men passing by. After the movie, we strolled side by side down the street. She had worn canvas sneakers for comfort, but the laces had already come undone twice. When they loosened a third time, I couldn't stand it anymore. I knelt down before she could react. Mia froze, and I took up her laces, looping them skillfully into a tight knot. There, that should hold, I said. Standing up with a smile, she shook her foot, grinning. Wow, that's impressive. It feels nice and secure, Alex. I looked up, stunned. Not far from us stood someone familiar. Lily. I'd been around her long enough that even with a mask on, I could tell her expression was anything but friendly. She strode over and stopped in front of Mia and me. This is Mia, I introduced. Mia looked at me curiously. Lily, she greeted, her face paling even more. Inside a coffee shop, Lily and I sat across from each other. A few minutes earlier, after running into each other on the street, she had insisted on talking alone. After getting my consent, Mia had gone back to the car to wait for me. I remember you always knew how to tie the best knots, Lily said quietly. But I never managed to learn. I was silent. Lily, back then you always tied my shoelaces for me. Her voice was soft. Yes, but that was back then. Later on, it wasn't just my laces you had me tying. You let Daniel do it too. I hadn't tied your shoes in a long time. You found someone to pretend to be your fiancé to trick me, didn't you? She suddenly accused. I shook my head. I'm really getting married. Lily, I don't believe you. She looked up, staring at me as if searching my face for signs of a lie. I sighed. Her expression shifted, a hint of panic breaking through. Alex, she said, gripping my hands tightly on the table. Daniel and I were just a contract relationship. I swear I never crossed the line with him. That day he was drenched from filming and his place was too far, so I let him come up to take a shower. Nothing happened. I was just angry and said things without thinking, which is why I didn't explain. I honestly thought we were just having another fight. We used to argue all the time. You wanted the lead role in that new drama. Right, I've already spoken to the director and the part is yours, Alex. I've thought about it. After this contract ends, I won't accept any more bad pairings. Let's go public. Okay, we'll act together and you'll always be my lead. Please, Alex. Her eyes reddened. We promised that no matter what happened, we wouldn't break up so easily. Yes, we had made that promise. I looked at the woman in front of me, the woman I had once loved deeply, the one I had been willing to compromise for, to sacrifice my own needs for. But she was the one who let go first. She wanted to bask in the excitement of flirtation while also enjoying my loyalty. Slowly, I withdrew my hands. Lily, I'm getting married. I don't want my future wife to go through the same pain I did. So please, I looked her in the eye, don't look for me again. I've already left the industry. Acting was only ever a hobby for me. If I really wanted to be the lead, my family could arrange countless roles for me. I just didn't want it that way. Your family? She asked, startled. It doesn't matter anymore. I shook my head once. I had dreamed of us going public, of taking her home to meet my family. I used to wonder how she would react when she found out I was the heir to Gene Group, but now it was all irrelevant. I did love you once, so I'd like us to part with some dignity. With that, I pulled out my phone and blocked her number right in front of her. Since no one ever knew about us, let's remain strangers from now on. Back in the car, Mia was working on her laptop. Seeing me, she closed it and turned to me. Sorry, I said apologetically. I didn't know you'd find me here. She was silent for a moment, lowering her gaze. Personally, it doesn't affect me. But for Lou Group, she paused. Our family has always avoided appearing alongside celebrities in gossip columns. I understand? I nodded. I'll handle it, if you could handle it. She wouldn't have shown up here in Harmony City. Right, she murmured quietly. I froze. She seemed almost unhappy. Sometimes, things that are hard for one person to handle are easier when there are two people. She added after a moment, Since we're getting married, why don't we tackle it together? How? The simplest way. We could move in together. Her voice softened. Ah, she sighed. Your sister is away on a business trip, and if Lily shows up at your place, you'll be there alone. What then? Are you prepared to be photographed and splashed across the tabloids before our wedding? If she sees us living together, do you think she'd still come around? It made some sense, but wouldn't that be inconvenient for you? She smiled. Well, we'll be living together after marriage anyway. Consider it practice. The very next day, her things were moved into my spacious apartment in the suburbs. Sure enough, Lily never came looking for me again. Living together, having meals morning and evening, I learned quite a bit about Mia. For instance, she liked black coffee for breakfast, avoided cilantro, and loved fish but struggled with the bones. She exercised an hour each day, showed remarkable discipline, yet had a playful side. We'd talk about work, our ambitions, and she'd ask what I wanted to do in the future. I've always thought of starting an entertainment company, I told her, to give opportunities to fresh faces who need a break, like I once did. The apartment had a minimalist design, with a small bar counter. I had a modest collection of drinks there and was learning to mix cocktails as a hobby. So sometimes with her around, I'd mix a drink or two. One day I was making one when she came home. What's that? She asked, leaning closer with interest. A Boilermaker. I could mix something sweeter if you prefer. No need, I'll just have yours. What? Mine? My mouth was still full of drink and my mind stalled. Sure, but, she continued, you know, with a glass? Of course, she smiled playfully. How else would I drink it? A surge of warmth shot up to my ears. I could just bury myself in the floor and be done with it. She took the glass from my hand, tilting her head thoughtfully. This weekend, how about a road trip? The change of subject was perfect. I nodded, smiling. Sounds good. On Sunday, we visited the Liu family estate on the outskirts of town. On the way back, I got a call from Sam. He was thrilled to tell me that I had been nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Gene City International Film Festival. The Gene City Festival is a prestigious event in the industry, and winning would be a significant validation of my professional skills. Matthew, you know, Mia actually brought me onto her team recently. She keeps asking me about you, about all the things you went through before. Honestly, I think she still has feelings for you. I ended up telling her everything you went through, and each time I talk about it, I get really worked up. I mean, she overlooked so much before and lately. Daniel's been visiting her a lot, but apparently he's left looking pretty unhappy a couple of times. Sam rambled on, but I suddenly realized that my life in the entertainment world, Gene City and all it represented, felt so distant. I felt like I had already moved on, much faster than I'd thought possible. Why? As I waited at a red light, I glanced over at the person beside me, lost in thought. Mia, she said after a while, if you keep staring at me like that, I'm going to start getting nervous. In dramas, isn't that usually how it goes? The lead stares at the other person for ages before saying something difficult. Yes, I said. In dramas, isn't that usually how it goes? She burst out laughing. I only watch them because of you. Just then, she pointed ahead. It rained yesterday. Let's stop by and get the car washed. The car wash owner recognized Mia, greeting her warmly. While they chatted, Mia sat in the lounge area and pulled out her phone to handle some work. Suddenly, she frowned. Matthew, someone took our picture. I leaned over, and sure enough, there was a photo of me standing by the car at a rest stop. The caption read, Matthew, Best Supporting Actor nominee, enjoying a joyride with a rich woman. Every word dripped with malice. I'll handle it. I stepped outside and made a few calls. About 10 minutes later, I came back. It's taken care of. It was probably one of the other nominees who bought that trending spot. Mia blinked. The other nominees? I nodded. This time, there were 5 nominees in total. I didn't know 3 of them. And the other one was Daniel. I'd left the industry, yet he still seemed preoccupied with me. After the car was washed, the owner came over with a friendly smile. Are you Miss Lou's boyfriend? Mia laughed and introduced me. Yes, this is Monica Jean's younger brother, Matthew. Ah, so it's young Mr. Jean, the owner said with a nod, his smile widening. I had the pleasure of visiting Miss Jean's new car showroom last month. What an impressive collection she has. I nodded politely. Wait a minute, a new showroom? Mia and I returned to my house. As soon as we stepped inside, a cushion flew directly toward me. Matthew? My sister was standing there, hands on her hips. How on earth did you convince Mia to move in with you while I was away? Mia quickly tried to explain. Sis, actually, it wasn't Alex who… Sis, I cut in, rubbing my forehead. Maybe we should start by addressing your little scheme. What? Are we really going bankrupt? My sister hesitated, glancing over at Mia. Don't look at her. Mia shrugged, smiling slightly. Old Zhang spilled the beans. He already knows. That Zhang? My sister scowled. So the cars weren't sold. They're all parked in your new, enormous showroom? Right. Yes, and what about Dad's antique paintings? I recently bought us a new place. I moved some things over there so it's ready for Mom and Dad when they come back for the holidays. Her voice grew softer. I clenched my fists slightly. I'll take it from here, Mia interjected, stepping forward. I asked Monica for help. My sister sighed, smiling. You're a real friend, Mia, but the whole marriage alliance act was your sister's idea. My sister grimaced. Matthew, here's the thing, she began hurriedly. Yes, I did lie to you, but it was a family decision. Mia, our parents, and I all agreed. Once we found out about the injustice you faced in the entertainment industry, we were all very worried. I blinked, taken aback. You knew? I thought you didn't care about that world at all. She sighed, placing a hand on my head. You're my little brother. I didn't care about entertainment news until you got involved. Now I check it about 800 times a day, she pointed at Mia. You might not know this, but she's had a crush on you for years. I looked into it, and Mia's liked you since college. I thought she was too young, and you were too smart for your own good. So I held her back a bit, my sister said with a slight cough. But I never expected her to wait this long. Do you remember when Mom and Dad set you up on a blind date right before you left to pursue acting? You refused to go, but that was supposed to be with her. When everything went down recently, Mom and Dad were all set to fly back, but we knew you'd pretend nothing was wrong. You've always felt like you had to prove yourself. As for the people who crossed you, we'll deal with them. What? I was stunned. What do you plan on doing? You think my business trip was just for fun? I bought that series and I'll deal with them, my sister said with a smug grin. Anyone who messes with my brother won't get their show aired. I've already reached out to the director they fired. This script has potential and I'll help her make a new one. I looked from my sister to Mia, who was watching with a slight frown. Honestly, sis, that's a bit impulsive. You should consider the cost-benefit ratio, I muttered. My sister bristled. Taking revenge for you needs a cost-benefit ratio. Just then, my phone pinged with a new message. I glanced at it. A voice note. Mr. Jean, the acquisition of X Entertainment is nearly finalized. We'll be waiting for you at the company if you have time. My sister stared at me. You acquired an entertainment company? What for? I've always wanted to start one, and Mia helped me see it through. I smiled. Sis, your little brother didn't spend 4 years in the industry for nothing. If I let them off, I wouldn't be worthy of the Jean family name. Nice, I see, she said, then paused, suddenly shocked. You're calling me impulsive, but you two went and bought the whole company? Mia laughed. The three of us discussed the company a bit more until Mia had to leave for the Lou Group. Matthew, tell me honestly, my sister asked after a moment of silence. Now that you've spent time with her, do you have any feelings for Mia? She narrowed her eyes. If you don't string her along. To be fair, if it weren't for her persistence, I wouldn't have introduced you two so soon after your breakup. Do I have feelings? Memories from the past few days flashed through my mind like scenes from a movie, replaying bit by bit. Because of her, I realized I'd already moved on from my last relationship. Sis, about the contract with the Lou Group, even if we're not bankrupt, it's still a good partnership, right? Well, yes, I smiled. Let's sign it. On the day of the Film Festival Awards, Mia flew to Jean City with me, and we arrived at the venue together. She fell asleep on the flight, so I slipped a ring onto her finger without her noticing. Once we were inside, a few acquaintances came over to greet us. One of them noticed my tailored suit and exclaimed, "Wow, this looks like Andrew's latest design." There's only one of these in the world, isn't there? Before I could answer, a smug voice sounded from behind me. With a rich girlfriend to back him, of course he'd be dressed differently. Daniel walked over, flashing a wide, provocative smile. But no matter how well a wild boar dresses, it won't become a lion. Right, Matthew? People nearby immediately gathered around. Daniel, are you and Lily getting serious? You're the hot favorite for Best Supporting Actor this year. Daniel kept answering questions while giving me challenging looks. For a grown man, this behavior seemed childish. I decided to let it go for now. After all, I didn't want him ruining my mood at the film festival. Soon, the award ceremony began. Right before the Best Supporting Actor announcement, the screen displayed close-ups of the 5 nominees. Daniel maintained a calm and confident smile until the host declared, "And the Best Supporting Actor award goes to Matthew." His face fell, caught in perfect clarity on the big screen before the camera could switch. Honestly, I was a bit surprised myself. Standing on stage, I felt momentarily dazed. The senior presenter smiled as he shook my hand. Matthew, I've seen your work. You may have only played supporting roles, but each one was memorable. You did a great job. My eyes grew misty as I accepted the award, offering my thanks on stage. After 4 years of acting, even though I decided to leave the industry, this long overdue recognition felt good. It goes to show that if you have the skills, people will see it sooner or later. The ceremony proceeded smoothly until Lily, as last year's Best Actress, took the stage to present the Best Actress award. The host asked her how she felt compared to last year. She paused. Last year, there was actually someone I forgot to thank. Oh, who's that? The host prompted with a smile. She hesitated. He was with me for a long time, from my days as an unknown extra to where I am now, but I never properly introduced him to everyone. The audience buzzed with interest. The screen cut to Daniel, surrounded by heart-shaped graphics. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate him. Oh, why? Congratulations? Is it because the two of you are... because he also won an award today? The host blinked in surprise, clearly caught off guard. After a moment, he stammered, "Oh well, let's all congratulate him then." Daniel's face froze, and this time the full-screen close-up made it even more obvious. Audience members began whispering to each other, with many casting curious glances my way. After all, among today's award-winning men, the best actor and best animated film director were both in their 50s. Apart from them, the only one who fit Lily's description was me. After the ceremony, I purposely lingered for a bit but still ran into Lily near the parking garage entrance. "Matthew." Her voice was hoarse. I paused, stepping closer. "Lily, there's no need for this." She shook her head. "I owe you an apology." I sighed. A peaceful breakup was my way of preserving our dignity. But if you keep clinging to the past, it just becomes an entanglement. "But I can't move on," she said, her eyes reddening. "Alex, I really can't. Can you give me one more chance?" I turned, and there was Mia, jogging over with a man's coat draped over her arm. She was full of life, utterly endearing. "Are you cold?" she asked, taking my hand. "I'm fine. Have you been waiting long? Are you tired?" "Not at all, but here," she said. "Put on the coat first," gently wrapping it around me. Then, holding my arm, she looked at Lily, whose face had gone stiff. "Miss Lily," Mia said with a slight smile. "What a coincidence seeing you again." She smiled, with just a hint of apology. "Sorry, but there's a celebration for Alex at home. We won't be staying to catch up." Back in the car, I opened my phone. Sure enough, Lily's remarks had pushed my name to the top of the trending topics again. Lily and Matthew's secret relationship. Lily and Daniel just a showmance. Did Matthew win because of Lily? Meanwhile, a post-ceremony interview with Daniel was also racking up millions of views. "This world is inherently unfair," he said, shaking his head. "But no matter the injustice I face, I'll stay true to my art and continue to bring quality work to everyone. As for my relationships, I'd rather not discuss them." He added with a wry smile, "I have a clear conscience." But as I kept scrolling, I noticed another trending topic skyrocketing in popularity. Gene Group. Congratulations Matthew and Mia. Curious, I clicked on it, only to find that the Gene Group's official account had posted something 10 minutes ago. "Congratulations to Mr. Matthew on his double celebration. Here's an exclusive preview of Mr. Matthew and Miss Mia's engagement party venue." The post included several setup photos of our engagement party. I turned to the woman beside me, who was grinning slyly. I thought the Lou Group was a low-key company. She didn't miss a beat. "I'm finally getting married. People are happy for me. Besides, this is just one short announcement on the official account. What's more low-key than that?" But that wasn't all. Scrolling down, I found a post from my sister. "Our Gene family's son is simply the best." Thanks to her, Gene Group was now trending as well. "Mia," I stopped the car at a red light and turned to her. "I have some things to take care of tonight." She nodded. "Need any help?" I shook my head. "No, I'll handle it myself." I made a few calls. An hour later, the original director of the drama posted a lengthy message detailing the casting conflict and her firing. She included the initial casting video and the original actor list. Soon after, a video surfaced of me being subjected to mistreatment on set. I'd been willing to leave things alone to preserve some dignity for everyone involved. That was my upbringing. But that didn't mean I'd let people trample over me. Some people won't realize their mistakes unless they face the consequences. Before long, other people who had experienced Daniel's bullying on various sets started posting their own videos and evidence. Lily's name kept popping up in the trends as well. A major reason people tolerated Daniel's behavior was fear of crossing Lily. I've officially gone from a fan to a hater. Lily is disgusting. I want to smack Lily across the face and ask her what she's thinking. Why not just focus on her craft and relationships? Honestly, Lily and Daniel deserve each other. Now that I look back at that party video, I can't imagine how painful it must have been for Alex. I owe Alex an apology. Count me in. I owe him one too. The buzz on the internet was relentless. The film festival committee even issued a statement. The entire selection process was fair, transparent, and impartial. As for certain actors implying that there were issues with the committee's evaluation, we are considering legal action to protect our reputation. Soon, netizens were both excited and overwhelmed by the sheer amount of gossip. There's too much to keep up with. I don't even want to sleep. If Daniel could put his acting skills from his bad promotion interviews to use in real roles, he might actually win some awards. He implied Matthew's win was rigged. Please, Gene family heir, Lou family fiancé, acting is just his hobby. If he really wanted, he could shut down the entire industry. Here's a crash course on the powerhouses that are the Gene and Lou groups, TLDR. Daniel and Lily aren't even qualified to hold Matthew's shoes. When we got back to our place in Gene City, Mia parked and pulled out her phone. "What a lively scene," she said softly. "Yes," I agreed. I wasn't one to harm others, but neither was I a saint. I simply presented the truth, letting the public judge for themselves. Right and wrong would reveal themselves clearly enough. Water can carry a boat, but it can also capsize it. Mia laughed softly, unbuckling her seatbelt and turning to me. "Mr. Gene?" Her eyes sparkled like a sky full of stars. "Congratulations on your win. You earned it." That night, I went to bed early and slept soundly. The next day, I had to be at X Entertainment. At 9 a.m., I arrived at the company with my assistant, only to hear Daniel's voice echoing angrily down the hallway. "I've done so much for this company. Half of you wouldn't even have jobs if it weren't for me. Now you're just going to abandon me. Where's your conscience?" Someone murmured quietly, "It's not like anyone told you to say all that in the interview." "What did you say?" Daniel shouted. "I want to see the boss. Where is he? Why hasn't he shown up for days?" I walked into the company. "What do you mean, new owner? Explain yourself." The chief assistant, who was trying to calm Daniel down, noticed me, fell silent, and hurried over. "Good morning, Mr. Gene. Glad to see you." I nodded. "Why is it so noisy this early?" The chief assistant wiped his brow. "Nothing major. We'll take care of it right away." I looked up, meeting Daniel's shocked, ashen face and wide-eyed stare. "Your office is all set up?" the chief assistant said with a smile. "Would you like to take a look?" I nodded. As I passed Daniel, I paused. "Sounded like you wanted to see me." He clenched his jaw. "And no," I said with a smile. "I'll be meeting with every employee individually. I'll get to you eventually." Reviewing X Entertainment's internal records, I quickly realized just how much the company had invested in Daniel over the years. Many talented newcomers had been stifled, unable to rise because Daniel monopolized resources. I implemented sweeping reforms, bringing in fresh talent for development. Daniel resisted at first, but I eventually dropped a stack of photos on the table. "I looked over your file. The company spent a lot to keep these photos of you partying with influencers and models out of the media. If you want to leave, the contract requires you to repay the company for these expenses and any lost endorsement fees." In the end, he paid what he owed and left the company in disgrace. Lily hadn't been in the office for a long time. She had no new projects, and her contract was nearly up. Her fan club had announced its dissolution, and many directors, wary of potential backlash, avoided casting her. One day, Sam called me, sounding anxious. "Matthew, Lily fell from a high place and fractured a bone. She won't see anyone. She only wants to see you. Matthew, she's not doing well. Could you come see her?" That same day, Mia happened to be in Gene City, helping me with the arrangements for moving X Entertainment's headquarters to Harmony City. "I'll go with you," she said. "Are you sure? Do we really need to go?" I honestly didn't want to see Lily. "People say you shouldn't pursue a cornered enemy," she replied with a smirk. "But we should at least help her let go of her last hope." In the hospital, Lily lay weakly on the bed, her leg in a cast. I pulled a script out of my bag. "There's a low-budget web series looking for a second female lead. The producers think you'd be a good fit. Once you've recovered, you can go for an audition." "Matthew." She looked up, her gaze pained. Her gaze pained. "Is work all we have left to talk about?" I glanced at her injured leg. I sighed. "You..." Ouch. I turned around to see Mia pressing her hand to her forehead, wincing. "What's wrong?" I rushed over to her. "Suddenly I have a bit of a headache. Did you not get enough sleep last night?" I worried aloud. I should have been more considerate. Poor me," she murmured. "It's my fault. It's my fault. Is it here that hurts? Really painful. Maybe we should see a doctor." "Ouch, Mr. Jean." I turned, momentarily taken aback. Lily was watching us, her face pale, looking even worse than before. "I'll think about the script," she said quietly. "All right, get some rest." I nodded and, taking Mia's hand, left the room, intent on getting her checked out by a doctor. "Mr. Jean," Lily called out again. "My contract is about to expire. This time, it won't be renewed, right?" I shook my head. "It's time to let go." She fell silent, a bitter smile on her face. I just wanted to try one last time. But I didn't realize I had already lost. Later, Lily went abroad. I never heard from her again. She disappeared from the domestic film industry. I moved X Entertainment's headquarters to Harmony City, finally ending the long-distance part of my relationship with Mia. My sister's production, with a new cast we handpicked, became an unexpected hit across the internet. The company thrived, following my vision of fostering new talent and providing real opportunities to those passionate about acting. At the same time, I took on some of my family's business responsibilities, lightening my sister's load considerably. One evening, I came home from work to find Mia making cocktails. She was a fast learner. After a few lessons from me, she could make a delicious drink on her own. "Care for a drink?" she asked with a smile. "Sure," I said. "Setting down a script. That's for the next project." "Yeah, a romance?" "Huh," she asked. "Does it have one of those endearing second leads?" "Yep, the main character lets down the lead. Then the second lead steps in. She's mischievous, but everyone loves her." I looked up, meeting her amused gaze. "So, Mr. Jean, do you have any feelings for your second lead?" She teased, tilting her head. The soft glow of the dining room lights fell on her, warming my heart. I picked her up and set her on the table. "You know, you're not the second lead. You should be called the late-arriving female lead." She arched a brow. "How do you know everything?" "I own shares in an entertainment company," I said proudly. "I read every viewer comment on each drama, and I pick things up fast." "So, how about you?" I asked. "Do you like your male lead?" Her cheeks flushed, and she muttered softly, "I've told you 1,000 times, day and night since we got married, and you still ask." I chuckled, moving closer to kiss her, but she turned her head away. "Don't you want your drink?" she teased. I nodded. She handed me the blue cocktail and took a sip from her own pink one, then wrapped her arms around my neck, leaning up to kiss me. The flavors of blue curacao and cherry brandy mingled together, perfectly embodying the name of the cocktail. A deep love, perfectly in sync.